You're a business owner. You determine that your business is a reporting company that needs to comply with the new Corporate Transparency Act. So, what's next? Next is figuring out your beneficial owners that have to be disclosed to FinCEN. And I'm going to tell you exactly how to do that if you keep watching. And make sure to watch until the end, where I tell you how to receive a free resource that I've created that will help you get started on your road to compliance. Hey guys, I'm Misha. I'm an entrepreneur and an attorney licensed to practice in New York and Florida. I'm an attorney, but I'm not your attorney. So this is for informational purposes only. It's not official legal advice. If you have a question about your specific situation, reach out to a lawyer local to you. So in the last video, you learned about the Corporate Transparency Act in broad strokes. You learned how to determine if your business is a reporting company and if any exemptions apply to it. Today, I want to give you the resources to determine who in your company could be a beneficial owner. You'll remember that under the CTA, starting in January 2024, an estimated 33 million businesses in the US will have to start disclosing their information about who owns and controls their business to the federal government. The information disclosed is supposedly going to help deter and combat financial crimes rooted in corporate privacy. Despite our personal feelings about the CTA, the administrative burden that will be necessary to comply with it, and the ongoing compliance requirements, or the privacy and disclosure concerns for the information that is being reported, at the end of the day, all reporting companies will need to disclose each and every one of their beneficial owners or risk hefty penalties for noncompliance. So let's get into it. Say by now you've already determined that your business is a reporting company and that it does not qualify for any exemption. Your next move should be to determine who is a beneficial owner of the business. These are the people that you'll have to include in your report to the government. So let's take a closer look at who can be a beneficial owner. A beneficial owner is an individual who either directly or indirectly exercises substantial control over the reporting company or owns or controls at least 25% of the reporting company's ownership interests. Let's examine that first prong. Somebody who exercises substantial control over the reporting company. What does substantial control mean? FinCEN states that an individual can exercise substantial control over a reporting company in 4 different ways. If the individual falls into any of the categories below, the individual is exercising substantial control. What are these categories? The individual is a senior officer. The individual has authority to appoint or remove certain officers or a majority of directors of the reporting company. The individual is an important decision maker for the reporting company. And the individual has any other form of substantial control over the reporting company. Let's go through each of these categories. So first, senior officers, or those that have the acting authority of a senior officer. So this can be the company's president, the chief financial officer, general counsel, CEO, COO, the chief operating officer, or any other officer who performs similar functions, whether they have the actual title or not. Next, if somebody has the authority to hire or fire a senior officer, or they can change up a majority of the board of directors, this also shows that they have substantial control within the business. Next, if a person directs, determines, or has substantial influence over important decisions, that person is considered to have substantial control. What kind of decisions are we talking about here? So this is going to be decisions that impact the business. So business decisions, finances, the structure of the business. All right. So business decisions can be such as, whether we're going to roll out a new product line, whether or not we want to increase the geographic reach of our business, of our company, whether we want to enter additional territories or markets. Financial decisions, can be related to acquiring assets, major assets, or whether or not you enter into large contracts for your business. And structural decisions of the business could be, whether or not there would be a business restructure, from the top down. Um, it could be decisions about whether to, move from an LLC to a corporation, a Delaware corporation, for example. Those sorts of questions the um, are the issues that somebody with substantial control would be looking at. Okay. And the last category of people who have substantial control over a business is whether they have any other form of substantial control over the business. Now, this really is a catch-all category to keep the possibility open for, other creative or unique ways of exerting control over a company that aren't already mentioned. So we've looked at the 4 different ways that a person in a reporting company can be categorized as a beneficial owner under the first prong of the test, which I'm calling the substantial control prong. If he or she fits into any of those categories, then that person will have to be reported as a beneficial owner. The other prong under which a person in a reporting company can be categorized as a beneficial owner is the ownership prong. Under the ownership prong, a beneficial owner is a person who owns or controls at least 25% of the reporting company's ownership interests. What do they mean by ownership interests, you ask? Well, an ownership interest is generally some sort of arrangement that establishes ownership rights in the reporting company. So examples of ownership interests include shares of equity, stock, voting rights, or any other mechanism used to establish ownership. So if we're talking equity, stock in an LLC, these might be called profit interests and units. These all qualify as ownership interests, whether they can be transferred or not, and whether they include voting rights or not. Additionally, debt instruments that can be converted to equity or profit interests are also considered ownership interests for the purposes of this beneficial ownership test. So we'll see things like convertible notes or warrants or rights to purchase, sell, or subscribe. Those all fall into that category of debt instruments. Option contracts. Option contracts for transacting any ownership interests that we mentioned, those are considered its own ownership interest, right? The only exception with option contracts is if it was created by an unrelated third party without the knowledge or involvement of the reporting company. In that case, the options will not be considered ownership interests. So basically, if it's an arm's length transaction, then they won't be considered ownership interests for these purposes. And finally, there's a catch-all. Of course, there's a catch-all provision for any other thing that could be used to establish ownership in a reporting company. So there you have it. We've looked at the 2 different ways that a person in a reporting company can be categorized as a beneficial owner, either by having substantial control or by meeting the 25% ownership interest threshold. Someone who passes either of these 2 tests will have to be reported as a beneficial owner to FinCEN. But wait, there's more. Because there are 5 exceptions to the definition of a beneficial owner. When an individual who would otherwise be a beneficial owner of a reporting company qualifies for an exception, the reporting company does not have to report that individual as a beneficial owner in its report to FinCEN. So what are the 5 exceptions that don't have to be disclosed? 1, minor children don't have to be disclosed. 2, nominees, intermediaries, custodians, or agents. That's all one category. So if you're a nominee, an intermediary, a custodian, or an agent, you do not have to be disclosed as the beneficial owner. Also, employees do not have to be disclosed. Similarly, inheritors or creditors do not have to be disclosed. Now, if you or someone in your business falls under one of those 5 exceptions, you can leave them out of the beneficial ownership report. But remember, if and when a change occurs that causes the exempt person to lose their exemption, that information must be reported to FinCEN within 30 days. So, for example, when a minor child turns 18 and they're not a minor anymore, their status as a beneficial owner will need to be reported within 30 days of their birthday. Now, be aware there are qualifications for each of those 5 exemptions, and I can cover those qualifications in a separate video. Let me know if you would like to see more information about those exemptions. And if I get comments indicating that you would like to see more information about who is exempt and how to get those exemptions and work those exemptions to the beneficial ownership, let me know and I can make a video on that topic. So make sure you bang the subscribe button so you can see all my uploads on this and additional topics on CTA, how you can comply. As a reminder, the CTA reporting requirements go into effect January 1st, 2024. If your company exists before that date, you have 1 year to figure this all out. Your initial report will have to be filed by December 31st, 2024. It's a good idea to give your beneficial owners, now that you've identified them, right? You can give them a heads up, let them know about the CTA, let them know that you're going to be requesting their personal information in order to comply with the reporting requirements. I've created a template letter that I'm offering to you for free that you can send out to your beneficial owners to put this on their radar. If you'd like a copy of that template letter, send an email to presumedlegal@gmail.com with the subject line beneficial owner letter, and I'll send that out to you. Okay. If you have general questions about this topic, about figuring out who's a beneficial owner of a reporting company, leave them in a comment below. I'll do my best to answer them. And if you'd like to keep abreast of developments with the CTA, there's a lot of moving parts. A lot of things are happening just before the actual effective date of January 1st, 2024. There's a lot going on. It's an active issue right now. So if you'd like to keep abreast of those developments, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned. Thanks for watching. See you at the next drop.